Wait a minute. Hey, how's it going? Got hit with a stupid penalty. But this is just an outlap, so it's not a big deal. Damn it. Am I going to get hit with a penalty? No. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Wasn't paying attention. I was trying to change the traction control. But we can go ahead and exit this anyway. Pay no attention to that 225. My best lap on here is a 221. As you can see right there, 221.9. So I'll need to change the let's exit that part so I can calm down all that noise. So I was originally going to stream Pavlov just for the simple fact of showing you guys what VR mechanics really look like in a first-person shooter game. A lot of you guys have probably already seen Pavlov stream God knows how many times by God knows how many influencers. But I think it took the situation with Firewall for people to see what true VR mechanics in a first-person shooter, what it is. I mean, because basically the VR mechanics in Pavlov, in my opinion, is basically industry standards. Manual reloading is pretty much industry standard. It's par for the course. And Firewall used VR mechanics that made you feel like you were playing a game right out of 2015. So I was going to stream Pavlov and just give you guys a demonstration of the mechanics that you've probably already seen 1,000 times, but I didn't want to feel like I was dogpiling on First Contact Entertainment because my issues with this game are the VR mechanics, but I don't think that's First Contact. I don't think that's their fault. I think they did what Sony told them to do. When I, you know, Firewall to me has proven what Sony is trying to do. They are playing it way too conservative and way too safe for the noobs. So I think they are. They've created two games that have turned off the hardcore VR people. You know, in like in the case of Horizon Call of the Mountain, the biggest people who seem to like that game are the hardcore Horizon people or the people that's new to PSVR 2. The hardcore people that's been doing VR for 6-7 years, they're kind of meh, and I fall into that category too because the VR gameplay of it, they played it too safe. You're doing a bunch of climbing, and then when you get to a boss, all you're really doing is ducking from left to right. You duck, you strafe to the left, you slide to the right, and then you fire a weapon at the boss. And I think they made that too simple for the noobs. And it to me, it feels like not on the magnitude of the Xbox One launch when they with the TV shit, because they were trying to, because they were trying to grab the casual gamer. And I think when it comes to I qualified 11th. I'm in here with a total B class. When it comes to video games, sometimes it seems like the first game is a hit, and then when they create a sequel, sometimes they dumb it down for the new people, hoping to attract a new audience, and they end up destroying their core audience and end up, creating a sour relationship with them. Xbox, soured a lot of people with that TV shit because they were trying to capture everybody. All right, I'm gonna do this race, and then we'll finish talking. Good God, I qualified 11th. Only good thing I got to say about this is 1.7 seconds separates me from the fastest lap. So I need to get into the 222s to have a chance to finish in the top 5, in my opinion. Damn it, I have to tighten this damn headset. This headset can be really uncomfortable. Oh, and they put me in a bad spot. I hope he's fast enough to catch up with the rest of with the cars in front of him, because I don't want to find myself fighting him trying to get around him, and then we both end up losing time. Damn it! Oh no, this ain't gonna end well! I'll take the penalty. Oh, he gave me a bump trap. Okay. I give it to him. He made his move. Look, Ham, he needs you.
How you doing, Link?
I am doing good. How about you?
Not too bad.
Good, good, good.
Is that ham VR?
The ham VR, huh? You see the guy in front of you? He needs ham. Damn it, they're getting away from me. I'm not keeping tight lines. I don't want to downshift and engine brake the car.
The day does not begin, it must bacon.
Keep fighting. Keep fighting.
Anyways, I see you still play this trash. Just kidding. GT7 is a good game.
The fact that, you know what? If you can hang on after this race, I'm going to tell you why I'm playing this.
Just not Axe quality.
The penalty system is dog shit.
GT3 racing, that is.
Oh, I love GT3 racing. It's my preference.
Yeah, a penalty. I never play online due to bad drivers and the penalty system.
And that's pretty much why I had quit playing it. But I'll explain to you why I came back after this race. And I'm not coming back on a regular basis either.
I'm sure I'm missing out. Good games. But I seen to my frustrations too.
Yeah.
Since I am not that great.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah, this game made me rage quit a few times.
course clean.
I tried
Dirty
to.
driver hits you. You get penalty. Dirty driver gets away with it.
Oh yeah, that's why I
How did
quit.
this happen? Where is the quality control?
That was the reason why I quit.
A good game marred with a big FU rules.
Really? He tried to take me out! Oh my god! That bastard tried to take me out! He tried to take me out to keep me from getting past him, and it backfired. We are going to save that replay.
I saw that.
Unfucking believable. Is it that serious?
LOL.
Is it that serious? I finished in 11th place. You did all that work to keep me from finishing in 11th place. Is it really that serious? Oh my god. That is unreal. Shit like that why I quit.
Ha ha.
Unfucking believable. It backfired on his ass. If he hadn't have turned into a ghost, I was going to hit the brakes on him and let him run into the wall anyway. We'll do one more race.
That is how you know you aren't on ACC.
Exactly. Okay, so here's the reason why I kind of came back to this game. One was the last two sessions that I had, they went okay. The other reason why I came back to this game is so I wouldn't lose my mind on ACC. ACC, if you play that game day and night, practicing and practicing and practicing, ACC is one of those games where the harder you try, the slower you get. Because you try to get super aggressive. You try to get an early exit out of corners, and it costs you a couple of tenths here. It costs you a couple of tenths there, and before you know it, you've lost an entire second on that lap from all the micro mistakes that you made. Because a couple of tenths doesn't sound like much, but when you're going on a track that might have 27 turns and you're talking about losing 2 tenths on each turn, you're looking at like basically 2.7 seconds on that lap that you've lost from the mistakes that you made from trying too hard. So basically, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this game that I have to play. The whole point of it is to get away from ACC for a minute and play something different to change the pace. So when I do come back to ACC, I come back refreshed, I come back relaxed, and I come back ready to pay attention to any mistakes that I make and try to correct them. And so, like, when you
listed too.
The automobile listed too, I don't feel like I feel like the physics of automobile listed 2, give or take, is about the same as this game. In a sense that like with Automobilista 2, you go into a corner and the car starts to rotate to the point where you think it's going to spin all the way out, but it's almost like an invisible wall on the side of the car keeps it from spinning all the way out. So it makes the physics feel a little bit arcadey. And here, if you keep your car on the track, the physics can feel a little bit arcadey. But if you go off of that track and you hit that green apron, it's like your car is on ice. So I will say one thing about the physics of this game: if you go completely off the track, it is unforgiving. Whereas like maybe like ACC, if you go completely off the track into the grass, but you can still maintain a straight line, you can still somewhat save it. But with this game, if you go completely into the grass, it's hard to save it because it's like you're on ice. But yeah, that's what it comes down to. So now, as far as me coming back to this game, I will come back to this game in a limited capacity. I will only do the daily races on the tracks that I know, because if it's a track that I know, I only need a couple of laps to fill the car out to see how the car is going to behave. Because in order to get away from these dirty drivers, one of the things that I don't want to have to worry about is a track that I don't know, and I'm constantly having to look at a track map to see what corner is coming up next. And because I haven't really seen the corner with my own eyes, I can't judge how I'm going to approach it. Now, this track, for instance, Spa, I know this track like the back of my hand on any game. So I already know how I'm going to approach the track, how I'm going to approach the corner. It's just a matter of me getting adjusted to the car that I'm driving on whatever particular game that I might be playing. So if I'm on a track that I know very well, and it's a track that I do fairly well at, then I don't have to worry about how do I approach this corner, how do I approach that corner. I can focus on being aggressive and being as fast as I can be in order to get away from the slower, dirty drivers. Now, the one thing to me that is a nightmare is having to deal with dirty racers that know how to drive. Because a dirty racer who doesn't know how to drive, if they take a shot at you and they miss, they go off the track, that's it. They're done. You don't have to worry about them anymore. But a dirty racer who knows how to drive, he knows how to take you out and still stay on the track. So if he misses, he still remains on the track, and he can take another crack at you somewhere down the road at another corner. And so the higher you rank, the more skill these dirty racers have. So once again, my 221 gets me an 11th, in 11th place.
I saw
qualifying.
your No Man's Sky video.
Oh,
you sound impressed how the PS5 VR2 is doing.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Despite me sounding impressed about No Man's Sky on PSVR 2, what I'm about to say after this race is over is going to sound like I got mixed feelings about it.
You said it looks like a mid to high quality.
Yes, it does. And I've said that so many times that I feel like the PS5 has the power of a mid-range PC, like a 2070, and I still maintain that. And so, because of that, some of these games on PSVR 2 are a hit and miss. Some of them look good, some of them don't. Some of them got very profound reprojection, some of them don't. God damn it. I'm going to just go ahead and give it to him. Oh, he's got a penalty. I should have fought him. Because just for the simple fact that he's got a penalty, he may try to block me off.
Well, we are comparing a $1,100 console VR setup versus a $4,000 plus PC and VR setup.
Ah! You would be correct. My issues with PlayStation VR 2, the issues that I spoke on a number of times, this isn't a case of I jump on my $4,000 PC and then I come back, oh shit. My issues with PlayStation VR, it's not so much a case of I go on my $4,000 PC and then I come back to PSVR 2 and be like, oh man, this is garbage. I think Sony was a little bit disingenuous with the way they marketed this headset. And I'm a little bit disappointed with some of the VR influencers that I feel have been protecting this headset, because some of these games have had issues. Some of these games have not looked good. Some of these games have not run good. Some of these games have had reprojection, and some of these VR influencers are protecting them. And it's almost like this narrative this vibe that I'm getting. It feels like if you don't have anything good to say about PlayStation VR, then don't say anything good at all. The one thing I will not do is lie to my viewers. Because VR is, to new people, VR is a slippery.
I don't mean to hit at your honesty. I just like to keep a perspective.
No, I mean, no, I never thought for 1 minute my honesty was being questioned. What I'm saying is that I want to see VR move forward just as much as everybody else, you know, but I won't do it at the expense of lying to my audience. If I play a game and it's got issues, I'm going to tell you. If I review a VR game and I tell you that the game is trash, I'm not going to tell you that the game is trash because of the story, because that's subjective. I may not like the story, but somebody else.
No, it's not supposed to be a lazy ports or development. I know PS5 and VR is very capable, and we have seen laziness.
And now this is one area where I actually defended the developers, because I think some of these ports, some of these bad ports that we've seen, I don't think they were necessarily lazy ports. I think I think it came down to the PSVR 2 may not have enough power to make their vision happen. You know what I mean?
here is something concerning. I don't see you plating Firewall Ultra.
I played it.
And I heard mixed results elsewhere.
I played it. I played it a couple of days ago. Go back and check my library. You'll see it.
You did? I must have missed you. Sorry.
No problem. Oh, God damn it, here comes another penalty.
Well, did you like it or are you disappointed in Ultra?
There's that penalty. I did not like... boy, that's... Yeah, I did not like the VR mechanics. I mean, I'll go more into detail about it after this race.
I'll watch if it is too much to talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after this race.
I know it got mixed reviews.
He's gonna get me anyway when I get hit by this penalty. Oh, that's the guy that tried to take me out last race. If I was anything like him, I would try to take him out.
Disappointed about the grenade throwing. It is all auto aiming. What were they thinking?
Well, that
auto reload but throwing.
The grenade aiming is janky too because of the eye tracking.
That is what I heard. Well, there is still Pavlov and soon I'll go for VR2.
As far as the VR mechanics goes, Pavlov's going to be the best game on PSVR 2 for a while.
Unless FCE can clean up their controls.
Oh my God. I'm going to end up finishing this race dead last. Oh my God, that hurt. Oh man. Drop 4 spots.
Stinkin' spin out.
Yep, what can you do? Okay, so let me exit out of this and then we'll have that little firewall talk. You know, as I was saying in my stream a couple of days ago, the graphics were pretty good. Now, despite how good the graphics look, I did see some things within the game where there was some serious downgrades within the maps. And to put it in simple terms, I felt like the graphics of the game was an Oculus Quest on steroids. I felt like the graphics were an Oculus Quest, but it still had enough overhead to add lighting and shadows and stuff. And so that's what made those maps look good, was the lighting and the shadows.
Looks very dark to me.
That's part of.
I am watching from streams.
Part of that is because of the OLED panels of the PSVR 2, while you're seeing that darkness. But another thing that I have been noticing with some of these PSVR 2 games is that the worlds have a fog and a haze to it, and I think that might be something a dev detects might be that might be a technique the devs may be using to cover up some of the downgrades, or to offset areas of the map that might require more resources, and the fog and the haze covers it up. I'm only speculating, but so let me just say this about the headset real quick. The power of the PS5, as I said, that is a mid-range PC. As far as the PSVR goes, PSVR 2 goes, again, I would call this headset an Oculus Quest on steroids. What I've noticed about the games, that the third-party games that have come from that have come from Quest or PC over to PSVR 2, what I've noticed is that if these games if they were a Quest port, they've been basically getting an extra coat of wax. So it looks a little bit better than the Quest version because of the shadows and the lightings and the reflections and stuff. But if it's a game that was ported from PC, then the PSVR 2 version ends up being downgraded. And I think the Green Hell VR situation, I think that might, in some ways it proves my point, but in some ways it doesn't, because I have the game on PC and I'm, running a 4090, and the game looked decent on PC, but the pop-ins were absolutely horrible. And I mean, like, plants were like miraculously growing beneath my feet. Rocks suddenly had, crevices in them. Trees, just look like a regular charcoal colored log until you get close, and then all the tree bark and stuff like that will pop in. So if it was doing that on PC, I'm thinking to myself, this game is going to be a disaster if they port the PC version over to PSVR. I said, this shit is not going to turn out good. What did they do? They ported the Quest version over there. Because I guess the PC version of the game is more of an open world version, and I guess the PC version of the game is more linear. The world is smaller, and when you're exploring the jungle, I guess they disguised some of the loading screens as if you like moving through like jungle type corridors. So they ported the Quest version over the PSVR 2, and that still didn't turn out good. It said low res textures, shit looked muddy. From what I'm hearing, it was blurry, and this is where I criticize some VR influencers. Is like they acknowledge, yeah, this is, we got low res textures, we got jank, we got pop in, we've got reprojection, but it's still one of the better games on PSVR 2. It's still one of the better looking games on PSVR 2. What? And now that brings us to Firewall. You have a game that looks good, but you got VR mechanics that make you feel like you're playing a game right out of 2015. And once again, influencers were like, yeah, the game's got issues, the lobbies are broken, the mechanics of this, people don't like the mechanics, but it's still one of the better games on PSVR. I'm like, wait a minute now, come on. So that is what I refuse to be. When you got so many things wrong with the game, whether it's damn near broken, I'm not going to basically, like, what some of these influencers did, yeah, it's got jank, but it's one of the better looking games. Yeah, this got pop-ins, but it's one of the better looking games. They ran off enough things for you to conclude that the game is broken, but still say that it's one of the better PSVR 2 games. They just didn't use the word broken. And that's what it comes down to. I will not run off 86 things that I find wrong with a game and tell you that it's a great game. When it comes to a single player game with a campaign, either you like the story or you don't. I'll tell you, what the story revolves around. And you make up your own mind whether you think you might like that campaign or not. From there, I just point out bugs and glitches, multiplayer issues if it's there. I point all that stuff out. In all the years that I've done VR, I do not.
What was that other survival game that came to PSVR 2 that was enhanced?
I don't know. I mean, like right now, the stuff that I'm talking about right now is more or less based on the situation with Green Hell VR, which is a survival game. And and basically what I was just saying was there was a multitude of things wrong with the games, and then other influencers pointed out that yeah, the game's got problems, but it's still one of the better games.
Song in the Smoke.
Now, the Song in the Smoke, what I heard about that game, I heard that it runs good. The biggest negative that I've been hearing about the Song in the Smoke is people don't care for the art style. I guess it's more of a animated art style. So, but from what I'm hearing, it's a survival game. I'm hearing that it's a good game. I'm hearing that it's got the gameplay is good. I'm hearing that the mechanics are good. But just a lot of people can't get past that art style. I've never played it. I've never even really gone out of my way to really take a look at the art style or the graphics. I'm not gonna lie, I can be a graphics whore, and I do like photorealistic graphics. And so, when it comes to the photorealism, coming back to Firewall, some parts of those maps looked really good, and that was because of the use of the lighting and the shadows and that kind of thing. But I think I still feel like a lot of that stuff was quest type graphics that had good lighting and shadows. The operators on Firewall, when you look at them closely, they don't look sharp, and the characters have a downgraded look to it. After my initial stream of Firewall, I was thinking to myself, maybe I was being too hard on them, and maybe I was quick to judge them, and I need to go back and dive into that game and really give it a chance. And then when I went back into that game, I was instantly put off again by the mechanics of not being able to really interact with everything. Everything you want to do, you have to walk up to it and press a button. I mean, it feels like a flat screen game. The lobbies, you're inside of you're in a lobby, and the lobby is a safe house. And it's cool that you get to explore that safe house. I think you can go to the shooting range and that kind of stuff while you're waiting for a match to start. What I don't like about the safe house is they placed
To what I am gathering, you are basically saying the PSVR 2's tech is still too much for the PS5. The PS5 is the weak link to the whole set.
You could make that case. You know what we're going to find out what this headset is about, in my opinion? I think it's like IVR. I can't remember what those guys are called, but these are the people that have been working on trying to get the PSVR 2 to work on a PC. I think the progress that they made so far was that they got the computer. They were able to trick the VR. They were able to trick the PSVR 2 headset into thinking that their computer was a PS5. So it let them in and let them proceed. You know, I guess they're able to watch videos in cinematic mode and that kind of stuff. But once they get this thing fully functional, I will plug this PSVR 2 up to my 4090 PC, and we'll see what these games look like. But theoretically, yes, that is my belief, that I don't think the PS5 has enough power to push this headset to its potential.
I wonder this is why Microsoft decided to not do VR. They might know the hardware is not there yet to power.
No. Microsoft are opportunists. Microsoft does not. The one thing I will give Sony credit for is they will take chances. They will do something that may not seem like the popular thing to do. Microsoft, in my opinion, after the Kinect failed, Microsoft is not really innovative. When they came out with the Kinect, they saw the success of the Nintendo Wii, and they tried to copy it with a different twist. And I think the Kinect was pretty cool, because I think before VR came along, the Kinect was probably the most immersive you can get as far as like actually interacting with whatever game you were playing. So I think the Kinect was pretty cool, but I don't want to get into the long story of why I think Kinect failed and this and that and that and this, but it failed. That's the bottom line. And I think after Kinect failed, Microsoft decided they are not pouring any money into new technologies, into new genres. They'll let everybody else take the risk, and then if it becomes mainstream, then they'll jump right in. So Microsoft actually had a partnership with Oculus during the Xbox One X. It was supposed to Microsoft had a partnership with Oculus, and my guess was that the Oculus Rift was going to be the headset that the Oculus Rift S was going to be the headset that you would be able to use with the Xbox One X. Phil Spencer got on stage and announced it. So, in my opinion, there is some VR technology baked into the Xbox One X, or they were going to probably work it out where you could use a black box or something to run an Oculus headset on the Xbox One X. And the thing about that situation is Microsoft wouldn't have to do shit. They don't have to make any games. They just let Oculus come over there and set up their library and bring their own.
When it was not mainstream for PC VR though. Which is why they didn't do VR for console. Console is not there yet in my speaku.
And the bottom line is that, in my opinion, Microsoft, like, in order for Microsoft to get involved in something, it has to be something that's going to make, like, Fortnite type money. It has to be something where it's so popular that people are playing it everywhere, where they're playing it on console, on PC, on mobile, that kind of shit, because that's the kind of money that Microsoft is chasing after. Sony, for all the negative things that I might have to say about PSVR 2, Sony helped build VR to where it is today. Sony did not sit back and let everybody else do the work and then try to come running in and get a piece of that money. That's what Microsoft wants to do. Microsoft will let everybody else do the work. Microsoft will let everybody else take the chances, and if it fails, they won't get involved. But if it succeeds and it's making like Fortnite type money, then they're going to come running in with a wheelbarrow trying to get a piece of that money. And from a software standpoint, so
Microsoft is a plagiarizer.
Yes, they are. So let's go from a software standpoint. The Nintendo Wii, they're the ones that made the Mii's popular. The avatars. They made it popular. They were called Mii's on the Nintendo Wii. So Microsoft saw how popular that was and how much would it cost to have their devs make avatars that you could use on the Xbox dashboard. And then Sony did it with the PS3, I believe. So they both copycatted. Nintendo, as much as people may not like them, they're the innovators, and they're the ones that will take chances. I think, but the kind of chances that Nintendo takes, if it backfires, it could cripple the entire company. Whereas Sony, if they take a chance and it doesn't work out, they still got a lot of shit to fall on. TVs and all kinds of other electronics that they can fall back on. What does Nintendo make? Games and consoles. What does Sony make? They make a bunch of shit. TVs, consoles, headphones, you name it. They make a lot of stuff. So if PSVR 2 fails, it's not gonna cost
industry.
Yeah, record industry, movie industry. So if PSVR 2 fails, Sony is not going to go bankrupt because of it. Whereas in the case of Nintendo, if the Nintendo Switch would have failed, it would have really hurt Nintendo. It would have crippled them. So, that being said, Microsoft has the most money to take the biggest chances. But I think, Microsoft has they have an American capitalistic greedy mentality, and like I said, they'll let everybody else do the work and then come running in to try to get a piece of it if it's successful. So that being said, the Oculus Quest 2, it is rumored that
Microsoft watches for stats.
The Oculus Quest 2, it is rumored that they have sold somewhere between 15 and 20 million headsets. That is fucking impressive. Oculus, 15 to 20 million headsets. I think right now, Sony is sitting on 40 million PlayStations sold. And I think Microsoft might be sitting on 20 million. And they've got 2 consoles combined. 20 million. So for VR, for Meta by themselves to do 15 to 20 million headsets is impressive.
Microsoft and Meta should get together.
They were supposed to, but the partnership fell through. Remember, when they were called Oculus, Phil Spencer sat up on that stage and announced a partnership with Oculus and never materialized.
Okay.
I think that Microsoft decided that I think it came down to a couple of things. I think they felt like VR probably wasn't making enough money for them to get involved in it. And number 2, if you look back at Oculus, look how many changes they went through going back to 2017. They were called Oculus, then they were called Facebook, now they're called Meta. And then when you go all the way back to 2016, you had the Oculus Rift. I think it was the DK1. And then you had the Oculus Rift CV1, which I had bought. Then you had the Oculus Rift S, which I think was going to be the console that was going to be on the Xbox One X. And then right at the same time that they launched the Oculus Rift S, they also launched the Oculus Quest, and they only supported the Oculus Quest, I believe, for 1 or 2 years before they made the Oculus Quest 2. I currently have, I also just bought an Oculus Quest Pro. And now we're coming up on the Oculus Quest 3, which people are speculating are going to launch in September. How many Oculus headsets have I just named off? Going back to 2016. I probably ran off about 5 or 6 different headsets that they've made over the last 6 or 7 years. That is another reason why I think Microsoft did not go through with the partnership with Oculus, because I think they were making way too many headsets too fast. If they go through with that partnership, you may possibly put Xbox consumers in a position where they would have to upgrade a headset every other year, or if they don't keep up with the times, or the Xbox console isn't doesn't allow for it to keep up with the new headsets that were coming out, you would be in a position where somebody buys an Oculus Rift for the Xbox, and then 2 years later it's obsolete. So I had did a
They
video.
also have VR tech behind the scenes like Project Half Dome,
Mhm.
Starburst, and other code name
Mhm.
tech.
And keep in mind that if Microsoft really wanted to do VR, they could, because these headsets that use the Windows mixed that are Windows mixed reality headsets, they were licensed by Microsoft to build these headsets. The HP Reverb G2, the Samsung Odyssey, to name a couple, are Windows mixed reality headsets that were licensed by Microsoft. Microsoft designed those headsets and licensed them out to Samsung and HP Reverb to HP. Microsoft knows how to build at least a mixed reality headset. They know how to build one. They just don't. They don't want to spend the money to put it in motion. You know, they were selling that HoloLens to the military, which I guess turned out to be junk. So give me 1 second. I will be right back. Okay. Unfortunately, um, as I've said before so many times in the past, that when I'm streaming directly from the PS5, PSVR 2, there's no chat window inside the headset. And the speech chat that you guys may possibly be hearing, it doesn't name off it. It doesn't say the name of the person making the comments. So I mean, so I didn't know who I was conversating with these past 20 minutes or so. Great Tantrum, thank you for popping in. Always a pleasure to have a conversation with you. So yeah, well, jeez, we jumped around.
Slightly smiling face.
We talked about a multitude of subjects, but coming back to PSVR 2, to put it in a nutshell, I think
Good stuff.
thank you. I think the PSVR 2 has significantly more power than a Quest 2, but I don't think it definitely doesn't have as much power as a high-end PC. Um, so when I stop back and look at it, you know how I told, you know how I said that I feel that the PS5 has the graphical power of a 2070. And I've talked about how some of these games on PSVR are hit or miss. The bottom line is, I think the less demanding games on PSVR 2 will look better, and the very demanding games on PSVR 2 may not look good, and they may not run good. When I look back at, say, I think around 2018, I had an Alienware Aurora R9 that it had an i5 9600K, and it had a 2070. And at the time that I bought that computer, a 2080 Ti was the most powerful GPU out there. So I felt like the 2070 was a pretty good GPU. And, this was a pre-built PC that I bought from the store because I didn't know how to build a PC yet. I say all of that because I also had the Oculus Rift CV1. A lot of the games that I played on the CV1 were blurry around the edges. They weren't as blurry as the original PSVR. When the Oculus Rift S came along, it blew my mind because it felt like the first headset that I saw where I felt like it was clear. It definitely had a bigger sweet spot than the CV1 or PSVR. To me, it seemed like at the time it seemed like the entire headset was clear. There were some games that looked good on it. There were some games that didn't. ACC was one of the games that did not look good on the Oculus Rift S. And a lot of it has to do with the poor VR optimization of the game. And I didn't realize just how demanding that game was. But then I would jump over to Automobilista 2, and it looked amazing on that Oculus Rift S on that Alienware. Automobilista 2 is a demanding game in VR. It's just they optimize the shit out of it. The VR optimization is top notch. Even to this day, when I jump into that headset with my Quest Pro or my 4090, sometimes I don't even race. I just sit there and just look around at how clear it is. And then when I start racing, I get blown away by just how good it runs and how detailed it is. I feel like the PSVR 2 is like me having that Alienware in that Oculus Rift S all over again. Some games look okay. Some games don't. Yeah, when it comes to a game like Red Matter, one thing that I do not want people doing with Red Matter is people falling into this trap of people thinking that Red Matter looks good because of the power of the PSVR 2. That is not the case. In one sense, what the developers have done with Red Matter 2 is amazing. I haven't seen the game on PC. I don't need to see it on PC because it looks amazing on PSVR 2. But at the same time, it is not a demanding game. For the few hours that I've played that game, I was the only person through every part of the game that I was going in. I was going into empty rooms. I walk up to a door, it's locked. I gotta look around and find pieces to either construct a device or find pieces to repair the control panel so I can open the door and go into the next room, and that's it. And from what I've seen, from some of the videos that I've seen, there doesn't seem to be much of a difference between the PSVR version, the Quest version, and even the PC version. I guess a big thing that really surprises me about Red Matter 2 on PSVR 2 is that the game runs at 120 frames native. No reprojection. When you start moving, there's no ghost trails and no blurs.
Here is a question. Why is it that GT7 is the only simcade game on VR2? Kunos and not even Codemasters have done anything for VR2. It's P.
I think the reason why GT7 is the only racing game on PSVR 2. I've come down. My belief was that maybe the other games, like, okay, I've had this conversation a number of times. Let's use a set of Corsa Competizione, for instance. I've told this story so many times, but I'll tell it again. One of the developers for ACC, his name is Aristalis. He has his own YouTube channel, and maybe like once a month, he'll do like a community stream where he'll allow people in his Discord to do a couple of laps. He'll watch them and then give them tips on how to become a better racer. When he goes live, there's easily a couple of hundred people watching.
Codemasters have Dirt Rally.
Yeah, okay.
Or is it?
So
Surely PS5 with VR2 can do it.
So I'll get to that. So with Eris, the dev for ACC, I sent him a super chat, and I asked him. I said, "Will ACC on PS5 get VR support?" And his exact answer, word for word, was, "Too many resources. The console's not strong enough." At first, I didn't want to believe him because I thought that they really didn't have any interest in putting in the work to give ACC VR support on PS5 because they're currently working on a set of Corsa 2. But after what I've seen with some of these games, if PSVR 2 is having problems running some Quest ports, then hell no, there's no way that this console would have had enough power to run ACC in VR. Because a lot of PCs don't even run it that good in VR. It took me building a $4,000 PC and I'm using a $1,000 headset for me to finally get this thing looking and running the way I always envisioned it. Years of upgrading PCs and upgrading headsets to finally get it to where I finally envisioned it looking. So a game like ACC, there's no way it would run on PSVR 2. I believe Eris now. F123. F122, when it first got VR support, had major problems on PC. There was so much jank and so many frame drops that a lot of people were skipping the VR part of it, and it took EA and I think Codemasters like a couple of months and several patches to finally get it to where it was in a playable state. Even now on F123, when I'm sitting still and I turn my head from left to right, it's skittish. Once it gets going, it runs smoothly. I don't think. And the other thing is, even on PC, when I run F123 at 2160p, it is somewhat blurry. I've had to upscale the resolution all the way up to like virtually 2900p to get a sharp picture. That is another game that I think would the PSVR 2 would not be able to run it. I think if they brought F123 to PSVR 2, I think it would be a blurry mess. I think Ryzen.
Probably the reason Forza won't be VR. Xbox can't handle it, but Microsoft still has their PC market, so let's hope.
Yes, I think that is. Well, I mean, it's definitely not going to get VR support on Xbox, being that they don't have a VR headset. But PC, why not? I hope they give it VR support because they did it with Microsoft Flight Simulator. What happened was people modded Microsoft Flight Simulator for VR. People added VR mods to it, and then I think once the devs saw that people actually wanted VR support, and they said it. They had said it that they said we would love to give it VR support, but ultimately that is Microsoft's call. If they give us the green light, we'll do it. And Microsoft gave them the green light. I would like to think it would be the same way with Forza. Because I think this new Forza coming up, I don't think this is going to be a new built from the ground up game. I think they're going to be reusing assets. So that being said, especially being that they're putting it in Game Pass, I don't think they would spend the money to rebuild a game from the ground up, spend all that research and development money to build a totally new game just so they can throw it in Game Pass. I mean, they did it with the Horizon game that just came out. They basically reused assets. So I think they're going to do the same thing with Forza. I think it's going to be the same thing all over again. I think it's going to be up to Microsoft to let the devs give it VR support or not. Now, given how greedy Microsoft is, I think it's a 50-50 chance that Forza could get VR support on PC because
they said Forza 8 will have ray tracing while you play. But that might be on PC only.
I can believe that. You know, I won't even get into the back and forth of speculating the issues with the Series X versus PS5 and that kind of shit.
There is no buy for sim racers.
I think there is a small niche market for VR sim racers. It's got to be because look, EA, when it comes to gaming, is one of the greediest entities ever in existence, and they have put F122, F123 has VR support on PC. Hell, they even put Grid Legends on the Oculus Quest. The gameplay is good, and it sounds good, but it looks like
of the crowd. I can't race on screens anymore.
Absolutely. But Grid Legends looks like dog shit on the Oculus Quest. But I still commend Codemasters and EA for taking that chance and bringing a AAA racing game to the Oculus Quest. I take my hat off to them. A lot of people felt like it was lazy. I don't think it was lazy. You're talking about a VR headset that has about as much power as a smartphone, in my opinion, as far as the processor goes.
I love Forza Horizon, but without VR I can't get into it anymore.
Even if it had VR support, I wouldn't play it anyway because that's just not my type of game. I like pure racing games. I don't want to play a game where I'm, driving 200 miles an hour across a freeway and I go off the freeway and driving through people's backyards and driving over mountains and shit. It's got to be a pure racing game. So if Forza Motorsports, the new Forza Motorsports, if it gets VR support on PC, I will pick it up. Even though I think the Forza racers are the dirtiest racers on the planet. I think they're even dirtier than the GT7 racers. Speaking of which, oh, we got a roulette ticket. Let's open it. Four-star. What the fuck kind of roulette ticket is this. I won an invitation to go spend money. I thought the purpose of these roulette tickets was to give you rewards. I've been giving cars money, useless parts that I can't use because I don't own the car. But I get an invitation to go. Let's go look at this shit. If they're giving me this car, that's one thing. This game is... Oh my God. You have got to be fucking kidding me. I get a 4-star roulette ticket. And what I won from that 4-star roulette ticket is I've been given the opportunity to buy a car for $1.3 million or buy another car for $3.3 million. What in the fuck is this? And that is one of my biggest issues with this game, is this bullshit ass monetization scheme. I do not have 3.3 million. So you know what that means?
GT7 is built around the World Economic Forum.
So, top up at a PlayStation store. So I don't think it lets you guys, I don't know if it's letting you guys see this or not, but a window's popping up. And so, for $20 in real money...
The reason I fell in love with Forza was just loading up music or a podcast and just cruise in my rig after a long day of work.
Which is cool. Everybody has their ways of unwinding. That's pretty cool. So, for the low price of $20 real, I can buy $2 million worth of credits, which would not be enough to purchase that car because it would still leave me $300,000 short. That is a...
I love Assetto, but it's very intense sometimes.
That roulette ticket was a slap in the fucking face. Unbelievable. That 4-star ticket was useless.
Well, it is a roulette, not a rewarder.
Unfucking believable.
Roulettes are unpredictable.
All right, let's have a look at this replay. And if I can, I'll just skip ahead to the point to where the guy tried to take me out. Well, all right, let's go back.
Gotta give Sony props for their tournaments, they treat them more serious than Turn 10 and Forza.
That's really the only part of a lot of GT7 stuff that I watch is those actual tournaments. You know, because you're watching the fastest guys in the world on that game compete against each other, and they're doing it in a competitive manner. They're not really racing dirty. They're racing competitive, and yeah, there's a little bit bumping and grinding, but there's not anything on there like egregiously dirty on there.
Your stream froze for a second.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so this is the guy right here who tried to... We're riding inside the car with the guy who tried to take me out. So, we're going to go back in my car. So as soon as we get around this chicane, the guy's gonna try to take me out. And here we go. He tried to take me out right here. Alright, let's ride on board with him and see what prompted him to try to take me out. Unbelievable. All right. Let me check the time, so you guys are going to lose the screen for a second. Yeah, 12:30. I got to get ready to go because I got to go pick up my son. And not only that, we have the Metro Cruise. Speaking of which, every weekend in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we have what is called the Metro Cruise, where for about a 3, 4, 5 mile stretch of road, a lot of people bring out their classic and exotic cars, and they basically park at restaurant parking lots, business parking lots, with their hoods open, and you can come up there and check out the cars. There's food stands set up, music playing. I streamed it live last year, and the stream was only going to be as good as the signal that I got from my phone. We are going to check out the Metro Cruise today, and I will stream it. So, show you guys some exotic cars going up and down the street, some classic muscle cars. So, definitely be on the lookout for that in a few hours. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get it packed up so I can head on out and pick up my son. And we will see you all in a few hours when I stream the Grand Rapids Metro Cruise. Definitely tune in and check out some of these like absolutely amazing cars that you can see that people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on these. So we'll see you all in a little bit. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And again, we'll see you in a little while. Until then, the successor to the Beetle, the Type 3. Wow. All right. Until then, you all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and deuces. See you in a little while, everybody.